Evelyn Reed arrived at the Maasai Mara National Reserve with a clear and deeply personal objective: to find quiet. As a professional photographer, her life had become overly managed and emotionally sterile following a difficult period. She sought this vast landscape to purge her soul, walking on the golden savannas at sunrise, where there was only the sound of the wind and the pulse of nature. In that peaceful morning, Evelyn seemed to have found what she needed. She was absorbed in capturing images of ancient acacia trees and the complex social dynamics of a baboon troop. Her mind, often cluttered with modern anxieties, was gradually cleansed by the ancient, essential rhythm of the land. However, close to 10 o'clock in the morning, that rhythm was abruptly disrupted. While focusing on a superb starling, Evelyn sensed a presence behind her. It wasn't the sound of a predator, but the heavy, deliberate thud of footsteps, the sound of a large object moving with clear intent. When she turned, the sight broke every rule she knew about the wilderness. About 30 meters away was a baby elephant. It was only about 3 weeks old, its small body frail, its unskilled trunk swinging awkwardly, and its large ears flapping with every unsteady step. The most striking thing was its eyes, dark and unwavering, fixed on Evelyn with an intensity that bordered on desperation. This calf, later known as Zola, was entirely alone. Elephant calves never wander by themselves. Their survival is absolutely dependent on the protection and nurturing of the herd. Evelyn immediately understood that this was not just an anomaly, but a biological catastrophe. As Evelyn took a step back, the calf advanced too, determined to close the gap. Clearly, this tiny creature had chosen the tall, strange woman as its last beacon of hope. In that moment, one woman's journey of healing became a survival mission for an animal. For nearly 20 minutes, the impossible pursuit continued. Evelyn tried to quicken her pace, attempting to convey rejection through action. But Zola, exhausted and driven only by primal instinct, stubbornly followed. This persistence was not threatening. It was the desperate clinging of a creature that had lost everything and saw Evelyn as its only remaining chance at life. This heavy responsibility weighed on Evelyn like a tangible burden, overriding all the rules and professionalism of wildlife photography. And then, the inevitable happened. Zola's strength gave out. Evelyn watched with a mixture of relief and heartbreak as the calf's little legs buckled and it collapsed onto the sun-scorched grass. It lay there, panting heavily, its eyes filled with intelligence, fear, and hope, looking straight at Evelyn. Its weak trunk reached out toward her, searching for contact, for reassurance. Safari vehicles began to appear on the distant ridges, their telephoto lenses and binoculars pointed at them, turning Evelyn and Zola into an unprecedented spectacle. Though the attention was unsettling to Evelyn, her greater concern was the calf's condition. She knew she had to do the right thing, call for expert intervention. Evelyn knelt beside Zola. As she extended her hand, the calf's trunk immediately wrapped around her fingers with surprising gentleness. Its skin was rough and warm. In that moment of contact, a bond was established, transcending the species barrier and all conventional logic. It was pure acknowledgement and acceptance, the beginning of something that would change both of them forever. Soon after, a dark blue Kenya Wildlife Service (KWS) truck arrived. Dr.
Evelyn is
Lena
down just past that
Mwangi, the
acacia.
regional
Let's
head
move.
veterinarian, and her team approached professionally.
Watch your step.
Her presence confirmed that this was a serious
The situation is
emergency.
critical.
She explained that a second vehicle was from the David Sheldrick Wildlife Trust, DSWT, Kenya's leading elephant orphanage and
specialized
rehabilitation
veterinary team.
facility. Through Dr. Mwangi, Evelyn learned the painful background. 3 days prior, an elephant herd had collided with humans, leading to chaos, and Zola had been separated from its mother. Clinical analysis confirmed Evelyn's fears. Zola was severely dehydrated and malnourished. Calves rely on their mother's highly nutritious milk to gain weight rapidly, but Zola had lost nearly 15 kilograms during its 3 days of wandering. Dr. Mwangi explained that a calf could not survive alone in the wild. Rehabilitation was essential and had to be done at a specialized facility. However, she also offered a slim thread of hope. If Zola was stabilized and recovered enough strength, a reunion with the herd might be a possibility. But then, Evelyn faced a choice. She could hand Zola over to the experts and return to her life in Denver, or she could postpone everything to participate in Zola's care. For Evelyn, who had been accused of being too cold and living too much within boundaries, this decision became the real test. She chose postponement, opting for deep, risky emotional investment over comfort and practicality. It was a decision that reshaped everything she thought about herself. The David Sheldrick Wildlife Trust DSWT facility, located within Nairobi National Park, was unlike any traditional zoo or sanctuary Evelyn had ever envisioned. It was like a combination of a veterinary hospital, a nursery, and a wilderness survival training school. This was an environment meticulously constructed to prepare orphan calves for reintegration into the wild. From the very first days, Zola's rehabilitation demanded ceaseless patience and dedication. Under the guidance of Joseph, the head keeper with over 20 years of experience, Evelyn began a new life. She woke before dawn to prepare the special milk formula, learned to understand the complex social cues of the calves, and accepted that every bit of progress was measured in small increments, not breakthroughs. For Evelyn, this was a transformative shift. Caring for Zola required presence, attention, and deep emotional investment. Exactly the qualities she had been accused of failing to provide in her old life. Every day, she witnessed Zola's small triumphs, steady weight gain, learning to use its trunk more skillfully, and most importantly, beginning to interact with the other orphan calves. However, the special bond between Evelyn and Zola posed a complex challenge for the rehabilitation team. Zola consistently reacted differently to Evelyn than to the professional keepers. When Evelyn approached, the calf instantly calmed down, drank its milk more easily, and often sought out her familiar scent in her absence. This unique connection provided necessary emotional stability during Zola's most vulnerable recovery phase. But Dr. Mwangi and Joseph emphasized that successful rehabilitation required the calves to learn to be elephants, not human-dependent pets. An excessive attachment to a single person could make release impossible. Their relationship was allowed to continue, but it had to be strictly supervised. 3 weeks later, Zola reached a crucial milestone, bringing Evelyn both pride and heartache. For the first time since the rescue, the calf spent the entire day interacting with other elephants without seeking Evelyn's presence. It played with Kessie, an older female calf, and mimicked the foraging behavior of the larger elephants. This was exactly what the rehabilitation team had hoped for, and precisely what Evelyn had feared. The harsh reality of wildlife rescue began to crystallize. The better Zola adapted to herd life, the less it needed human companionship. Evelyn was witnessing the intentional erosion of the bond that had saved both their lives, a necessary process that felt like losing a child. Every day Zola became more elephant than human attached was a day bringing them closer to the inevitable separation. 6 months had passed since Evelyn met Zola on the Maasai Mara plains. The transformation in both was significant. Zola had grown from a frail 90 kilograms calf to a healthy, near 300 kilograms juvenile, full of confidence and social competence. Evelyn, for her part, had moved beyond emotional detachment, becoming a person capable of deep, patient love, prioritizing another creature's welfare over her own emotional needs. The rehabilitation facility had become Evelyn's second home. She had extended her trip multiple times, working remotely and maintaining her commitment to Zola. Through Dr. Mwangi, she learned that elephant rehabilitation was both an art and a science, requiring an intuitive understanding of individual personalities and social dynamics that books could not teach. Zola's integration with the other orphans had been excellent. It formed strong bonds with Kessie and Django, developing their own social hierarchy and communication patterns, practicing the complex interactions necessary for eventual reintegration with a wild herd. Crucially, Zola had learned how to be an elephant in ways that went beyond simple survival skills. It could identify edible plants, use its trunk with sophistication, and exhibit high emotional intelligence. The most significant development was the gradual reduction of Zola's dependence on humans. While still recognizing and approaching Evelyn during visits, Zola no longer sought human comfort or security. Its primary relationships were now with other elephants. This was the exact desired outcome, and it meant Zola was ready for the next stage, integration with wild herds. Dr.
The
Mwangi
quickest
explained
route
that
is
this
directly
transition
south.
was a gradual
We
process.
bypass the main.
First, Zola would be moved to one of the Trust's semi-wild reserves in Tsavo National Park, a vast fenced area allowing them to practice wild behaviors. Here, they could interact with wild herds through the fence, a crucial step in developing relationships with potential adopting families. The moment of transition arrived on a brilliant morning. The team had observed something special. A mature female from a wild herd, identified as Amani, had shown increasing interest in Zola and the other orphans. This was the rare opportunity the rehabilitation team always hoped for, but couldn't engineer. The day Zola was transferred to Tsavo was deeply emotional for Evelyn. She knew this moment would come, but saying goodbye was far harder than anticipated. Zola, now nearly 2 years old and physically mature, showed no sign of distress leaving the facility. Its attention was entirely focused on the transport crate and the prospect of exploring new territory. As Zola calmly walked into the crate without looking back, Evelyn felt a wrenching sadness combined with profound satisfaction. Their bond had fulfilled its mission. Zola no longer required human companionship for survival or emotional support. Evelyn's task was to let go so it could be wild. The journey to Tsavo took them through some of Kenya's most stunning elephant landscapes, but Evelyn barely saw any of it. Her focus was entirely on the small crate where Zola was traveling. Though she had transitioned from active caretaker to passive observer, her role was not yet complete. She would stay in Tsavo, spending hours in observation posts monitoring Zola's progress. Over the next 6 months, Zola's development toward full wilderness integration was astonishing. It learned to locate water during the dry season, identify seasonal food sources, and developed complex foraging techniques. Most importantly, its relationship with Amani's herd gradually grew from curiosity to cautious acceptance. Amani, the matriarch, continued to frequent the area, allowing for increasingly closer interactions. The transition from semi-wild to completely wild was so quiet that it was impossible to pinpoint the exact moment. Zola simply began spending more time with Amani's herd and less time at the rehabilitation boma. Its return at night became gradually less frequent and then stopped entirely. When researchers confirmed that Zola had not returned to the area for over a month, its integration was officially declared a success. Evelyn was there to witness this final confirmation. Using a telephoto lens from nearly a kilometer away, she captured the moment Zola was peacefully foraging next to the wild elephants, utterly indistinguishable from the naturally born members. The calf that had desperately pursued her on the savanna was now a fully integrated member of one of Kenya's most successful elephant populations. The photograph Evelyn took that day became the final image in the book she later wrote about elephant rehabilitation. But more significantly, it represented the successful completion of a journey that had changed her philosophy about love and commitment. Zola had taught Evelyn that true love sometimes requires making the hardest choice possible, letting go completely, so the creature you love can become everything it was meant to be. 6 months after that, Evelyn received a report from Dr. Mwangi, bringing their story full circle. Researchers confirmed that Zola was not only thriving, but had been observed teaching new orphan calves the social skills it had learned during its own rehabilitation. The elephant who needed rescue had become a teacher, a protector for other orphans finding their way home. For Evelyn, now back in Denver, but forever changed by her time in Kenya, this news was the final validation. Zola had not just survived, it had become a contributor to elephant society. The desperate calf had grown into exactly what it was always meant to be, a great, free, wild creature with the wisdom to help others. Zola taught Evelyn that love is not possession. It is having the strength and wisdom to release at the right time, trusting that what you have nurtured will flourish in ways you could never have imagined. Zola's freedom was the greatest gift Evelyn ever gave, and the greatest gift she ever received.